This is Eva Cartman, and you're listening to the Dream Big Podcast Show, the place to go, to learn, laugh, and grow. Today we welcome Ben Giroux, a hilarious actor and director who was so much fun to have on the show. This is an inspiring one, Big Dreamers. It's episode 72. You ready? It's time to dream big.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. I am your host, Eva Cartman. And today, I'd like to start by telling you about a special gift we have for all you big dreamers. We created a super cool Dream Big journal that we want to ship to you. And get this, the front of the journal has an illustration of an astronaut in outer space. What is so amazing is that the journal is printed personalized with your own face and name. So you'll see your face on the cover of this journal as an astronaut. Oh, and it's free. Parents, please go to dreambigpodcast.com to claim your free personalized Dream Big journal while this offer is still available. You'll see a video of my mom and I showing our journals. Go to dreambigpodcast.com to get your free journal. And of course, a quick shout out to the review of the week. This is from Shay and reads, "We don't miss an episode. Eva and Olga are inspiring, and so are all the wonderful guests they bring on. Thank you for inspiring my family to dream big." Thank you, Shay, for that sweet review. Big Dreamers, if you would like to hear me possibly read your review on the show, then be sure to leave a review on iTunes. We're so appreciative of your support. And I'm going to turn it over to my mom for a quick word.
This week, we wanted to quickly thank two amazing sites that have helped to spread the love about the Dream Big podcast. nbsp is a new online video network for kids, teens, and families. They're committed to bringing families together with high-quality entertainment that kids and parents alike will enjoy. You can watch nbsp on your favorite streaming platforms, Amazon Video and YouTube. Giroux is a brand that inspires families to play, create, explore, and be the good together. They offer educational blog content as well as creative t-shirts with an empowering message for kids and adults. As part of their mission to be the good, a portion of each sale is donated to organizations that help underprivileged youth by building playgrounds in areas of poverty, offering art education in inner cities, and providing transformative outdoor experiences. Thank you so much again to nbsp and Giroux for spreading the love. Big Dreamers, be sure to check out their websites, and we'll have links in our show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/72.
Thanks, Mom. It's time for you all to enjoy our episode with Ben Giroux. Ben is a comedic actor and director and the creator of the viral music video phenomenon Back to the 90s. He currently stars as Mikey Monroe in Nickelodeon's animated series Bunsen is a Beast. Be sure to check out our show notes, dreambigpodcast.com/72, where we'll have links to everything discussed on the episode and links to Ben's website, where you can go to check out his hilarious work. Without further ado, here's our interview with Ben Giroux. Let's roll the tape. Hi, Ben.
Hello, Eva. How are you?
Good. We are so excited to have you on the Dream Big podcast.
Thank you so much.
Hello, hello. We are thrilled, and Eva is well prepared, as always.
Yeah. Ben,
How old are you, Eva?
I am 8 years old. I turned 8 last May.
You're 8 years old, but you speak like you're 35 years old.
Thank you. Tell me about your childhood. Were you in plays and theater as a kid?
Yes, I was. So I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. It was very, very hot. I don't necessarily miss the summer heat now that I live in Los Angeles. But when I was in really all through junior high and high school, I did a lot of theater. And I always kind of knew I wanted to pursue a career in entertainment, and I knew that that probably wasn't going to happen in the desert in Arizona. So after high school, after doing a bunch of theater, I went to film school and I went to theater school in Los Angeles. I went to University of Southern California, USC, and I sort of lucked out while I was in school. I got my acting representation while I was in college, and so I was able to sort of start professionally auditioning and working while I was still in school. So the transition out of college into a career was pretty fluid. So yeah, that's kind of how I got my start.
So Ben, if our big dreamers would like to pursue career in acting, what's the best first advice you want to give them?
I would just say, but the thing I always tell actors who just have moved to Los Angeles or are starting a career in entertainment is to be immensely proactive for your own career. Don't wait for things to come to you. I think that the momentum that I have in my career right now is largely self-generated. And I think that it's enormously important, whatever industry you're in. And I think this applies outside of entertainment as well, to just be proactive for your own interests and goals and work towards the things that make you happy. Eva, we were talking before we started recording about how you saw my music video back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that was just a passion project that I made with my friends that, got us on the Billboard charts and got us in Las Vegas with the Backstreet Boys and really launched my career into interesting new avenues. Really, because I just made something with my friends that I wanted to make. And it took a lot of time and preparation. But that's just one example of just being proactive for your own career and then reaping the benefits because of it.
You always say, Eva, take action, right?
Yeah.
If you want to reach your goal, you have to take action, even though it's not necessarily exactly what you want at this time. But still keep going, and you will find new opportunities and new people that can help you along the way.
Yeah, and Ben, what is your favorite part of acting, and when did you first realize that you were funny?
Well, I think I've always sort of been funny, I guess. But there's a photo of me as a 1-week-old infant where my dad is holding me up to the television and we're watching the Three Stooges together. So I sort of grew up just around comedy. And I would say the thing that I like most about acting and about entertainment is making people laugh. I think if you sort of get away from all of the, the Hollywoody stuff about the industry, Instagram followers and auditions and networking and all of that stuff, and you just sort of cut through it, at my core, I love to make people laugh. And I think that's what keeps me motivated and proactive in the entertainment industry.
And then a lot of kids and adults, they have fear of performing, as we say, stage frightening. Is that correct?
Stage fright.
Yeah, stage fright. So what's the best advice you can give on that aspect? I remember when Eva was about 5 or 6 years old, she loved being on stage. And then at some point, Eva, what happened when you started being shy being on stage in the school theater?
I don't know.
Remember? And I remember she came up to me and she said, "Mom, I'm afraid to be on stage." And I said, "Since when? You were always so active." And I guess a lot of times they pick up on the energy of kids around them. And someone says, "Oh, I'm afraid to go on stage," and then another one thinks, "Oh, okay, I should be afraid as well."
No.
So then maybe you
No.
give us. No, it wasn't like that.
No.
I don't know. It just happened one day, and it's like, what happened? So I couldn't figure it out. But then, obviously, you can see her now. She passed that fear.
Yeah.
And sometimes kids get shy, and Eva gets shy at first when she performs in public. She's confident on audio right now, but video can be a little different. So
Yeah.
do you have any tips for our audience?
Absolutely. I think during the first, 5 or 6 years of my career, I was so stressed. I was overcome with anxiety with every facet of the process of being an actor. You have to go and audition in front of people, and then you go to a callback and there's producers and a director in the room. And then you might be lucky enough to get the job. And I found that even when I got the job, I was so stressed about impressing people and remembering my lines. And it was a stressful experience. And I think that the epiphany I had, the change that I underwent was to give myself permission to fail. Because when you remove this idea that, I've got to impress everybody and I've got to be perfect, and you can just relax into what you're doing. Sometimes it's okay if you fail. And ultimately, when I was able to relax into what I was doing, I found that the momentum of my career really started to take off because I wasn't putting that pressure on myself. You talk about stage fright. I'm going to do a play. I'm going to do Sleeping Beauty in Houston in a couple of weeks at the Hobby Center. It's a 3,200-seat theater.
Oh, wow.
And, that's a lot of people to see you every night perform. And certainly there's always going to be some nerves when you walk out on a stage in front of that many people. But if you give yourself the freedom and the looseness to be able to fail and not necessarily get everything right, you can relax into it and really enjoy the experience of being out on stage. And for me as a comedian, I get to riff and improvise, and the excitement and the unknown of that is actually what I find most appealing. Anything can happen in live theater. Television's obviously a different animal, and I do primarily television, but even that, you can relax into it, and you've got, 100 crew members and other actors and things running around on set. But if you don't let the environment get to you, and you just recognize that you're good at what you do, and you've been hired for a reason, and you can just sort of relax into it and realize you're getting ultimately paid to do what you want to do with your life. I think that's when the stage fright goes away. But what I will also say is that some of that is good anxiety. Some of that is good nerves to have, because that keeps you focused, and it keeps you sort of intensely aware of your surroundings. And a little bit of nerves is a good thing, because I think it makes you do an even better job.
Yeah, and one thing I've always wondered is, how do actors memorize lines, especially in long scenes? How do you do it?
Yeah, well, ultimately it comes down to just tons and tons of repetition. I think the hardest thing is not necessarily the memorization, but the turnaround time. So, it's pretty often I'll get an email or a phone call from my agent or my manager, and they say, hey, it's like 8 o'clock at night. We need you to be in this casting office at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning and have these 10 pages memorized. And so I think it's about keeping this looseness to your preparation, and not feeling like you need to intensely get every word correct. At least that's how it works for me. So I use a lot of repetition. I pace around in my living room reciting things. And then the other thing I do is I'm a bit of a visual learner. And so I will, when I'm memorizing, I can sort of physically tell you where on the page that line is coming. I could tell you like, oh, okay, that's on the top of this page, that's on the middle of the page, that's towards the bottom of the page. I'm a total visual learner. And then the other thing I like to do is connect it to an action. You're much more likely to remember a line of dialogue if you are connecting it to your physicality. If you have an arm movement, if you've got a certain walk as a character. So if you can connect pieces of dialogue to specific actions, it's helpful. Obviously, it's much easier to memorize when you're around other actors. So when you're outside of the audition and the callback process, when you're actually rehearsing a play or a TV show, I also memorize by how the other actors are delivering their lines and reacting to my lines. Seeing how they react to me helps me remember what I'm supposed to say.
And do you do any accents?
Yeah, well, so I do. I work a lot in animation and voiceover, so I do a lot of crazy voices. I'm on a show on Nickelodeon right now called Bunsen is a Beast, and I play a 10-year-old named
Mikey Monroe, and he's very energetic and he speaks very high.
So that's not necessarily an accent. But,
Oh my God.
But I do a lot of Nickelodeon voices. I also play, even on some of my on-camera stuff, I play, I don't know if you're a fan of the show Henry Danger, Eva, but I play the main villain on the show, the toddler.
And the toddler sort of speaks like this. The toddler.
Oh, yeah. I watched a video of that on YouTube.
Yeah, he sort of goes high and then he goes low.
So I love doing crazy voices. I was always sort of doing voices as a kid. And then in terms of accents, I was on a show called Heart of Dixie on the CW network for a while, where everybody sort of talked in Southern accents. Everybody kind of had a little bit of that Southern drawl. Did 2 seasons of that show. So, you sort of start to adapt based on the roles. And it's always fun to do an accent as you sort of start to embody a character.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
I always loved. She asked me a lot of questions because she's very vocal, and a lot of people approached them and said, "Hey, maybe she needs to be doing voiceover." So I never researched really that aspect. I thought it's a good thing to know that adults and kids can do voiceovers, right? Do you see a lot of kids on the set, or it's only adults that actually change into the kids' voices?
Oh, mostly, I would say most animation, it's adults that can do kids' voices. In fact, that's where I really found my niche in animation, is being able to do
some really youthful roles and sort of kind of sound youthful, and that's been my wheelhouse.
But
oh my god.
but in terms of on camera, there's tons of kids all the time, particularly in all of the Nickelodeon and Disney stuff that I do.
Yeah, and how do you like doing voiceovers versus being in front of the camera?
The thing that I always say about voiceover, I love both equally, but the thing I love about voiceover is there's much less anxiety and stress because you have the lines right in front of you, so you don't have to memorize. You can wear whatever you want. People wear sweatpants routinely.
It's like a podcast.
Yeah, we could be wearing our pajamas right now.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a much more relaxed environment to voiceover, and I think a little less pressure. But being on camera, there's it's essentially like you're doing theater in front of cameras, and so there's a real excitement to the energy when you're on a set, which I also love.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Ben, what is your big thing that you're working on right now?
Well, it's been really crazy. You're catching me at probably the craziest time of my career, which is all very good. I have a lot of different categories of things that are going right now. I just went back on Henry Danger, so I'll be on season 4 of that coming out in the next couple of months. And so that's kind of what's going on with acting. I also, with this music video success and with charting on Billboard a few months ago, we've been able to get a lot of really fun music video opportunities. Regal Cinemas actually just hired us to do a Justice League music video that's as of Monday. I don't know when your podcast comes out. It'll probably already be out by then. Our music video will be in every Regal Cinema all over the country, nationwide, which will be fun.
Yeah.
We're working on a couple of new music video projects that are going to be out in the new year. And then I'm also a director. So I just directed a campaign for Discover Card. I'm directing a Match.com commercial next week. And the directing side of things has actually been really fun to pursue as I work with more and more brands on kind of the commercial side of things. And then just, doing a lot of voiceover over at Nickelodeon and a couple of hosting things as well. So it's been really fun to kind of spread my wings in a variety of different categories. At my core, I'm always a television actor, but I do have a lot of other interests.
Obviously,
Yeah.
you're a very, very busy person, and we will make sure to include all the links to your projects in our show notes. And we would like to know if you have any daily routines that helping you with all this schedule, Ben.
Yeah, I think it's about compartmentalizing, which means, Eva, for me, I take it an hour at a time during a day. So, I've got a project I'm working on for 2 hours and I solely focus on that for 2 hours. And then when that 2 hours is up, wherever I'm at, I move on to the next thing. And that allows me to sort of give my ultimate focus to every single thing that I'm working on in the present, and then to be able to effectively move on and manage that schedule. And the other thing is, I think having hobbies and experiences outside of entertainment keeps me feeling more balanced and ultimately makes me a better actor. So for me, I'm really into fitness, and I do competitive Spartan races where we actually made the connection. So I love traveling around doing 5 or 6 Spartan races a year and training for obstacle course races. And then travel's a big interest of mine too. I love exploring different countries and experiencing different cultures. And I always find that finding that balance and escaping from my entertainment career to do those other things ultimately makes me a better human being and thereby a better actor.
Yeah.
And for our big dreamers, so keep in mind that you can always pour a lot of energy, a lot of like all of your soul into what you love doing. At
Yeah.
the same time, don't forget doing other things, because sometimes when you take your time to
On
do
just-
things that are completely different, then you'll find more creativity, more inspiration to do things that you love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you look at yourself today, what is your big dream for the future?
Well, my biggest goal, I would say, for the next year is I have been working for about 8 years on a television show concept with my writing partner. And it's really my passion project. I think it's the best thing that I've been able to create. And we've been practicing our pitch with our management company, and we're in the new year going to be going out to networks and pitching the show around. So ultimately, I would love to either sell the show and star on the show and have a show on television, or if no one decides to buy it, which I feel hopeful they will, but if they don't, we're going to independently make it. And I would say that's my biggest goal. My biggest dream is to get my show off the ground, because I really believe in it, and I think it's really funny, and I think it's a great combination of all of my interests.
Ben, well, since you said that you were going to be going and pitching the show, and I'm sure that you, this is how most of the actors get their jobs, they knock on many, many doors.
Yeah. And
a lot of times they get rejected.
yeah, and you have to go on auditions, and you don't always get the part, like my mom said. How do you deal with that and not give up when you don't get the part you really want?
I think it's about, I'll give you my cake analogy. I always looked at my career like a cake. So you've got two parts of the cake. You've got the big, thick chocolate part of the cake, and then you've got the icing on top. I think when I first started my career, the icing on top was the things that I was making with my friends, the things that I was kind of in control of. But the meat, the biggest part of the cake was the guest stars and the co-stars and the auditions and the more traditional opportunities you would get as an actor. Well, 4 or 5 years in, I was not satisfied, and I totally flipped that analogy in my head, so that now the meat of my career, the big part of that cake, the entirety of the cake, is the stuff that I can control, the projects that I'm making with my production team and the people that I want to surround myself with, and the things that I can proactively control. The icing on the cake are the other opportunities that come my way, the Nickelodeon shows, the music video concepts, things like that. And so that allows me to be in control of my own momentum and volition, and to feel like I have control over my career. Back home, in Arizona, when people see things that air on television, you're exactly right. They're only seeing the things that I booked. They're not seeing the hundreds and hundreds of things where it's come down to me and the other guy, and the other guy's got it. And if you look at those opportunities like just the icing on the cake, then you don't take it personally, and you don't let that rejection get to you when you don't get the role, because most often you're not going to get the role.
Yeah.
I have thousands and thousands of rejections I have amassed over the last 12 years of my life, but it makes the successes all the more sweeter.
True. And do you have a worst audition story?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I would say, my very first commercial audition was just a real weird experience. It was a LeBron James Sprite commercial, and I'm a short guy. I'm a short actor. I play a lot of like height specific roles, and I went into this commercial audition. It turned out that the whole bit of the commercial was LeBron James was going to be bowling a basketball into a group of human pins, and the human pins were all little people. And I show up at this audition, and I'm 5'2". I'm a shorter guy, but I'm not a little person. And all of these little people were angry that I was there, because I might be taking a role from them. They have, much more limited, I would say, opportunities for roles. And
God.
So they brought us in a group of 5, and they rolled a giant beach ball into us, and me and 4 little people got knocked over, and it was a little demeaning and weird and very strange, awkward audition. I did not get the role. But yeah, I don't know. And I've been in just some weird, I think not even auditions, just some weird situations in my career. There was the one that stands out to me is I was doing an episode of Pair of Kings on the Disney Channel a few years ago. And I was dressed in a full miniature Chewbacca costume, holding a live chicken. And it was the front of a studio audience. It was really the weirdest. It's one of the weirdest moments going like, well, this isn't really what I pictured for
Well, it just tells us again and again, if you follow your dreams and if you pursue your dreams, not everything goes according to your plan.
Yeah.
You just
Have to go with the flow.
Yeah, at the very beginning, we were talking about going with the flow. This is the perfect example. Thank you for sharing, Ben.
Absolutely.
So, and then we have a few more questions to wrap up this interview. And Eva always like to ask if you go back in time
And talk to your 10-year-old self, what would be the best advice?
You know what's fun? You would have to go 2 years into the future to talk to your 10-year-old self.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say if I had to go back in time and talk to my 10-year-old self, I'm 33 now, I would tell myself to relax. I think I was just stressed with trying to be cool and trying to do the right thing and trying to have friends. And I think I was really in my head about everything growing up. And I would just say, mellow out because it's all going to be okay. And to just be yourself. Ultimately, I think when you're growing up, it can be difficult to just own who you are and be yourself because you've got a lot of pressure from bullies and society wanting to tell you to be a certain way. And I think that when you get a little older, you start to reject those ideas and those kinds of people, and you just sort of embrace the best version of yourself and you get comfortable in your own skin. So I think I'd tell myself to just loosen up and get comfy in my own skin and be myself.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. We
Have one more question,
yes.
and that is, where can our audience find out more about you?
Sure. So I would say the best bet would be to follow me on Facebook or Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at Ben Giroux, BenGiroux, or on Facebook at Ben Giroux Actor. And that's where I post most of my stuff. But if you wanted to kind of a full overview, my website's also good at bengiroux.com.
Awesome. And we'll
Awesome.
include all the links, of course, in our show notes, as I mentioned before. And thank you so much, Ben, for coming to our show and sharing your experience and your stories.
Thank
your
you.
stories, and
Absolutely.
making us laugh. So I just want to remind to our big dreamers that you should follow your dreams and take action. Remember that many doors will close in front of you, but there are going to be the ones that will be open, and there are going to be people that will support you along the way. And always remember to take charge of about your dreams.
Yeah.
And take action and make proactive decisions. Because no one else, if you don't do it, who else will, right?
Exactly.
Thanks you, Ben. And
Thanks so much, guys.
Catch up with you maybe one day in LA and have hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to.
Or coffee.
I would absolutely love to. Really nice to meet you guys, and I'm really impressed with the podcast and your show idea. Please let me know when it comes out so I can promote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Talk
Bye.
soon. Bye.
How fun was that? I love Ben's honesty in the episode and really enjoyed talking with him. Be sure to check out our show notes at dreambigpodcast.com/72 for links to Ben's website and everything else we discuss in the episode. When you go to the show notes, you'll see a place to sign up for Insider Newsletter, where we'll send exclusive content, including a free audio that I made on my top 10 tips for making and keeping great friends. This audio is only available for those who subscribe, and I know this will really help you, so please be sure to have your parents join the newsletter to get it. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Eva Cartman reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional. You need to make them essential. So take massive action to turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion the way life is meant to be. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!